How is it going, guys? Today we are going to be working on the Supra, and I'm going to show you guys how to swap out that OEM steering wheel, which, let's be honest, leaves a lot to be desired, with a new OLM steering wheel. First thing we're going to do is take a look inside the trunk. We're going to remove the floor of the trunk and push it towards the front of the car, and that is going to reveal the battery. Go ahead and take a 10mm socket and ratchet and disconnect the negative battery terminal. Also got a microfiber here so that once I pull this off the terminal, I can just lay it down and not worry about it. Hopping inside the car, we now need to release the airbag, which is probably the most difficult part. If you take a look on the back side of the steering wheel, there's going to be a hole on each side that you can slide a small flathead screwdriver into. The goal is to depress a spring inside of that hole that's going to release the clips in the airbag. So I found it's a little bit easier for me to do if I put a little pressure on the airbag. And there's one side. And there is two. If we take a look at the back of the airbag here, you'll see the two springs that you're looking to depress. The one on the right side, if you're looking at this from the front, releases the top right and bottom clip, and then the one on the left releases the top left clip. So you'll see when I press onto that spring there, it moves the spring out of the way, therefore releasing the clip. Once the airbag is released from the steering wheel, there's going to be two connectors that you need to disconnect. And then we can get this out of the way. With the airbag out of the way, we pretty much have access to everything that we need. Go ahead and disconnect these two connectors here before we remove the bolt that is holding the steering wheel in place. Now we can remove the 16mm bolt that's holding the steering wheel in place and carefully slide the steering wheel out. Before we swap everything over to the new wheels, let's take a look at the two different options. The one on the right here is the full Alcantara with the red 12 o'clock stripe, and then the one on the left has Alcantara on the sides, but then the top and bottom are carbon fiber, also with that 12 o'clock red stripe. So I think today we're gonna go with the carbon fiber one, so let's go ahead and swap everything over to this new wheel. All the screws that we need to remove use a T20 bit, so go ahead and grab one of those. We're gonna start off with the two black screws that are behind the steering wheel controls that hold the paddle shifters in place. Then we can disconnect the blue connection for the paddle shifters. And those just slide out of the way. Now we're going to turn this over, get those screws out of the way. There's going to be two screws that were hidden from the paddles that we'll need to remove that are holding the faceplate on. Now we can flip it back over. Make sure you don't lose those screws. Then we can pop off the faceplate that's holding the steering wheel controls in place. There's also going to be a connector that we'll need to disconnect. Set that aside. I'm going to try and pop these screws out so I don't lose them. Next, we'll pop off this lower trim piece here. That's just held in with some clips. Just take your time and carefully pry that off. There's two more screws down here. And then now the whole wiring assembly can come out and we can transfer that over to the new wheel. Now, the last step is gonna be these 3 screws here that hold in these plastic pieces. Just like the rest of the wheel, these just come out, and then we can pry those plastic pieces out. Now everything installs into the new wheel in essentially the same process, just reversed. We can get the wiring harness back in there next. Everything should slide into place perfectly. There's specific grooves for the cables to sit in. We can pop this lower trim piece onto the new wheel. Now we can reconnect the steering wheel controls. And that can pop right into place. We'll flip that over, get the screws reinstalled. And now we can install the shifters. So just route the wiring back through. And reinstall those screws. Make sure you get the paddle shifters reconnected as well. And then get all of the cables and connectors back to where they belong. And then we can take this over to the car and get it installed. Now it's just a matter of sliding the wheel into place. It can only go on one way. There is a line on the splines to help you line it up. And once it's on there, we can plug in all the connections. Then we can take the airbag, get that plugged back in. And now we can pop it back into place. Now we can go back to the trunk, reconnect that negative battery terminal, and go out for a drive. That pretty much wraps it up for the install, guys. These steering wheels completely change the look and feel of the interior. They're much more thicker than the stock ones, and they just match better with this car. Now, if you guys are interested in picking up one of these for yourself, the links are down in the description. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.